What's up, Facebook? Oh man, woo! Bright for a second there. It looked like the sun. Dial it in, man. What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday to you. Happy Wednesday morning. Depending on where you're at. Well, I guess it's morning everywhere in the United States, right? 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's my wife driving by. I wonder if she got the message I was live. I'm not looking at you. I'm not looking at you. Anyway, guys, I want to talk about trinkets and assets for a second. Give you guys a second to hop on because I think this is an important message for a lot of people, especially on Facebook world, okay? It's a very, very important message for people on Facebook, and this is something that I've become passionate about lately because there's a lot of people that are just putting stuff out there that to kind of fuck with people's minds, and it's pissing me off, right? Because I'm trying to help people build assets, build legacy, do things that are going to help your great-grandkids, right? Your great-grandkids, great-grandkids, right? You should be trying to build things that are going to help people, other people besides yourself, right? And I had somebody message me some shit the other day, and I usually pay zero attention to the haters, okay? I'll start off by saying that people message me shit all the time. And first of all, I get a lot of positive messages. And if you're watching this and you're one of those people, I thank you, and I generally thank you personally on the message, obviously, but I'm thanking you publicly right now. If you're one of those people that says, Joe, thank you for the videos, thank you for the support, thank you for motivation, whatever it is that I've given back, then I appreciate your thank yous, and I appreciate you guys messaging. But sometimes, as you all know, when you shake it up, when you shake shit up, you get haters, guys. You get haters. And this one hater in particular, the other day sends me a message about my watch. Sends me a message about my watch and says something to the tune of, you're fake, you're full of shit, you have a fake Rolex, blah, 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 right? I want to talk about this for a second because I've never really talked about material things. You don't see me, posting pictures of cars and watches and all this kind of stuff. You don't see me talking about these things very often, but it's a very important subject that I think is a problem in the society today, okay? And I want to address it because here's the fact, guys. I do have a bunch of Rolexes. No, they are not fake, okay? I didn't have a Rolex until my net worth was probably $4 or $5 million. I'm going to say that again. And I'm not saying this to brag. I bought my first Rolex for $8,000 when my net worth was probably $4 or $5 million, somewhere around there. If you have a watch, any watch, I don't care what it is, and it is a significant portion of your net worth, you're fucking doing it wrong. You need to sell that shit and invest it back into some education or your business or something that's going to help you gain revenue. Folks, I don't wear my watch to impress people. I wear my watch to impress myself. It's a trinket. It is not an asset. It is not going to help me make more money. It has never impressed someone into giving me money. It's never impressed another human being into coming to work for me. I don't sit there and say, hey, let's do business together, right? That's not how this shit works, okay? The people who are on Facebook sitting in front of their cars, flashing their watches, talking about all the shit that they have, those are fake people. They're trying to sell you something. They're trying to lure you into doing something. Those are trinkets, people. Those are trinkets. If you're talking to somebody or you're dealing with someone who hasn't actually created real culture, hasn't created a real business, doesn't actually own anything except for the watch on their wrist, hasn't actually built a team who can attest for their culture, hasn't actually built people who follow them, who actually have success, if they have a system and they can't refer you to someone who's used the system and made money doing it, right? If you can't talk to somebody at their event who's been successful doing the shit that they teach, then what they teach is worthless. Or maybe they're not teaching anything at all, right? But you gotta be very, very careful about the bullshit that you see online, guys. Because the bullshit being perpetuated on Facebook right now is at a catastrophic level. There are so many people online that are trying to become overnight instant millionaires. There are so many real estate investors, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to give you a caveat. There's so many 22-year-old real estate investors with courses. And by the way, I say this, but I'm going to take it back because there's like 3 or 4 or 5 like real 22-year-olds who are really making money, and there are out there. And I'll give you their names if you private message me, because there's a couple that have actually come to my events, and I'm not taking credit for their success, but I know them personally and they're making great money. But there's also a couple of them out there that are completely full of shit, that aren't doing anything in business, and all of a sudden they're selling a course. Guys, if you're buying a course, make sure you ask the person you're buying the course from how many deals they've actually done. Ask them to send you proof of deals that they've done. Ask you to send proof. Send them pictures of the deals that they're actually rehabbing. Send proof of the team they actually have running. Send proof of the payroll they're actually paying. You know, a real business owner that's doing, say, $10 million a year in business should be writing $250,000 a week in checks to people. It's not hard for them to walk in the other room and take a quick picture of all the freaking payroll that they have to pay and the accounts payable that is due each week, right? That's real business, folks. If they're not running a real business, then how the hell are they going to teach you how to run a real business? Folks, real business and people who teach how to run real business should be running a real business, right? Teachers who are out there doing nothing but teaching don't know what they're doing generally. And that's a damn shame, but that's today's society. That's social media, right? So, if you want to talk about someone else's Rolex or someone else's collection or someone else's cars or someone else's bullshit, make sure you know what you're talking about, guys, and make sure you know who you're following, right? Make sure you know who you're learning from, make sure you know whose courses you're buying, and make sure they have some background in actually doing business, right? I'm not telling you to buy my shit. I'm not telling you to come to my course. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you to make sure that you do your due diligence. I'm asking you to just pay a little bit of attention. And if you got a guy wearing a Rolex, make sure, hey, listen, if you're going to go buy a Rolex, just make sure that you have a bunch of net worth behind that Rolex, right? By the way, Rolex to me, just to touch on one more thing, it was personal for me. The reason I bought my first one is because my dad was the first entrepreneur in my family. My family came over here in the 1920s from Italy. My dad was the second generation. My grandparents were the first generation off the boat from Italy. I think my grandmother came here when she was like 8. And my grandfather, same thing. I think he was like 12. I never met my grandfather. He died when my dad was like 18. And my dad was the first entrepreneur. My dad was the first guy to actually make any type of money whatsoever in our family as an entrepreneur. Everyone else was really, lower middle class, and they hustled all the time. And my dad went out and started his own company, started a drywall company, and he always used to wear this Rolex. He was super proud about this, which I'm super proud of him, obviously. And for my entire life, my dad wore this Rolex, and he beat the shit out of this Rolex. He had this gold Rolex. He always wore it, but he also worked. Like, he was hanging drywall with this Rolex on. And I grew up watching my dad wear this Rolex, so I always had this feeling that I had to have a Rolex. But at the same token, as a real estate investor, I never wanted to buy it until I knew that I'd earned it, right? I had to put the assets in place. I had to make sure that the cash flow was there. I wanted to make sure that I earned that Rolex personally. No one gave it to me. No one gifted it to me. I bought it myself. But I made sure that stuff was in place before I bought it for myself. So it's very, very personal for me. It's just a trinket, folks. It's not to impress anybody else, but it's personal for me, right? So what everybody else thinks about it, I could care less. To me, it's important because it's a symbol of my father, it's a symbol of my family, and it's a thing that's important to me. And that's why I collect them. That's why I love them. That's why I've had Apple iWatches and I don't wear them. I've had all kinds of different watches. I have Panerais. I have all these other watches. The Rolex is important to me because it means something about my father, right? That's why I wear it. That's why I love it. And you know what? I don't care about anybody else's opinion. And I'm not giving any credit to the hater, by the way. I could give a fuck about his opinion. What I want to do, though, is make a valuable point to you guys that are watching me, to my tribe, to the people that follow me, that don't go out and spend that kind of money until you have the ability to. Set the assets in place, build the team, build the revenue, have the income to be able to substantiate it. Because if you're just doing it to show off and you're just doing it to have a trinket and you're just doing it to make everyone else feel good about themselves, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. If you have a real reason behind it and you have the assets behind it, fine, no problem. If it's an actual chunk, 5%, 3% or more of your net worth, then it's too much. If you have a $10,000 watch and you're only worth 100 grand, it's too much. Sell it and invest it back into yourself until it's such a small piece of your net worth that it doesn't mean anything, right, guys? Then you can have those trinkets, you can have those things laying around, and then it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal, right? To me, it's important. To me, it's a personal thing. It's something that means something about my dad. And by the way, 2 years ago, we actually bought my dad's company. We helped him retire, and now he actually kind of just works for us and hangs around and has a lot of fun and does the things that kind of task work and stuff that we ask him to do because he enjoys it, because he loves being part of the family. And by the way, he's texting me right now as you guys are on Facebook Live. So I hope the story has value. If you think it has value, pass it on, share it with your friends. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll check back in with you soon. Happy Hump Day.